Hidden Horrors, Unmasking Lucy Letby's chilling story. It was the trial of the year for the UK and garnered attention even further beyond as the case of the neonatal nurse, Lucy Letby, gripped the nation. The woman who took the life of at least 7 infants and attempted to take the lives of at least 7 more infants finally came to a head. Born in the year 1990 in Hereford, England, Lucy Letby emerged as the only child of a finance manager and an accounts clerk. Her entry into this world proved to be a difficult birth, and as she grew, friends suggest that she held a deep gratitude for the nurses who had saved her life during those early days. Perhaps it was this profound sense of indebtedness that would propel her towards an unswerving ambition to become a nurse herself. She went on to pursue a career as a nurse at the University of Cheshire, where she embarked on a 3-year training program. Throughout this formative period, she honed her skills as a student nurse at the university and completed critical placements at both Liverpool Women's Hospital and the Countess of Cheshire Hospital. A promising career in nursing beckoned, but no one could have foreseen the chilling path that Letby would ultimately tread. In 2012, Letby commenced her professional career as a registered nurse in the neonatal unit at the Countess of Cheshire Hospital. In her early 20s, she exuded warmth and compassion, as evidenced by her staff profile, where she professed her joy in caring for babies at various stages of need and found happiness in witnessing their progress while supporting their families. Letby's proficiency was further validated by her completion of 2 training placements in 2012 and 2015 at Liverpool Women's Hospital, equipping her to care for the most fragile and vulnerable infants requiring intensive care. She eagerly embraced the challenges of the intensive care unit, openly admitting her boredom with less demanding work. All appeared to be on a promising trajectory until the unthinkable began to happen. A series of suspicious and unsettling incidents began occurring once the neonatal nurse began working with infants who needed intensive care. The first tragic event, involving a baby known as Child A, unfolded on June 8, 2015.
Investigation has been always asking ourselves, who else could it be, if not her, and what else could it be?
Lucy Letby started working at the Countess of Chester Hospital in January 2012, just before her 22nd birthday. She joined as a nurse in the neonatal unit. But from January 2015, the mortality rate at the unit began to rise above what might be considered normal rates.
Concerned colleagues at the hospital began to exchange uneasy conversations and confided in one another about their horrible shifts, slowly piecing together a disturbing common thread. Letby was consistently present during these suspicious occurrences. Shocked and deeply troubled, they mustered the courage to voice their concerns to hospital management in October 2015. In response, a ward manager initiated her own inquiry, revealing the alarming fact that Letby was the sole staff member consistently present during each unexplained infant collapse and fatality. These grave concerns were subsequently conveyed to the unit's consultants, but their pleas were met with dismissal or ominous silence. In a bid to address the mounting concerns, a ward manager decided to relocate Letby from night shifts to the day shift in April 2016. However, this move was met with skepticism from many who argued that it merely shifted the problem from one time of day to another. Tragically, the unsettling incidents continued, now under the cover of daylight instead of nighttime. In February 2016, the lead neonatologist urgently communicated the alarming findings to the trust's medical director via email. Astonishingly, it would be 3 agonizing months before a meeting was convened in May. Even more frustratingly, no decisive action was taken against the perilous nurse, as the executive team dismissed the mounting evidence as mere coincidence that Letby was present. The breaking point arrived on June 26, 2016, exactly 1 year after the first tragic death. Consultants, grappling with the increasing gravity of the situation, demanded that hospital management remove Letby from clinical duties. This call to action was spurred by a series of events that unfolded over the course of 2 harrowing days. A pair of triplet babies tragically lost their lives. Fearing the potential for further horrors, the lead neonatologist had no choice but to take matters into their own hands, urgently contacting the duty executive to demand Letby's removal. In a jaw-dropping exchange, the duty executive staunchly defended Letby's fitness to continue working, even offering to shoulder responsibility should any further incidents unfold under her care. This conversation took place amidst a growing tally of 7 unexpected infant deaths in that very unit by late June. Management was finally beginning to grasp the gravity of the situation. As the month drew to a close, the executive directors of the trust convened for a pivotal decision, whether or not to involve law enforcement. A shift occurred a month later in July 2016, when Letby was transferred to a clerical role within the patient experience team, all while an investigation into her conduct loomed ominously. Weeks later, she was again relocated, this time to the Risk and Patient Safety Office. Astonishingly, she was allowed to continue practicing until 2018, when her freedom would face its reckoning. Throughout this tumultuous period, a shadow of doubt loomed over the directors regarding some doctors who they believed were unfairly targeting Letby. Directors described the acts as a misguided witch hunt. Tragically, the reputation of the trust triumphed over patient care. Instead of engaging the police, the medical director and chief executive chose an alternative path: a review by the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health, a professional body for pediatricians in the UK. Finally, there was a glimmer of hope that Letby would be apprehended. Yet, the questionable decisions by management did not cease there. The trust itself tightly controlled the scope of the review, limiting it to a general assessment of the unit's services while excluding any specific examination of Letby's actions. The review kicked off in September, and its findings surfaced in October 2016. The investigating body struggled to pinpoint a singular cause for the mounting mortality rate within the unit. However, they did underscore a lack of staffing and senior supervision as contributing factors, recommending comprehensive independent reviews for each death. Desperate for assistance, the medical director sought help from neonatologist Jane Hawden at Great Ormond Street Hospital, who declined, but did identify 4 cases deserving a forensic investigation. Another troubling development unfolded during a meeting between the medical director and the board members. The director attributed the deaths to leadership issues and delayed intervention, a blatant attempt to obscure the unfolding debacle before the board's very eyes. Amidst this cloud of misinformation, Letby boldly lodged a formal grievance in September 2016 regarding her shift from clinical duties to the hospital's Risk and Patient Safety Office. The board upheld her grievance, placing blame on consultants for orchestrating her removal without substantial evidence. Astonishingly, the medical director went so far as to assert that the trust's intention had been to shield Letby from such allegations. Even more astonishingly, Letby was offered a placement at Alderhay Children's Hospital in Liverpool, along with support for pursuing a master's degree or advanced practice. Later, the chief executive directed consultants to issue a formal letter of apology to Letby, which they complied with in February 2017. Little did those involved in this harrowing saga know that a turning point was just around the corner. In the chilling March of 2017, a regional neonatal lead sounded the alarm, insisting that further investigations were imperative. Consultants, now at tipping point, were pushed to their limit over the lack of action. They met with Cheshire Police on April 27th, just days before Letby's impending return to work. A pinnacle moment had finally arrived when the trust finally made a public announcement regarding police involvement. Operation Hummingbird was launched, its focus spanning various potential scenarios, from natural infant deaths to inexplicable collapses, from organic causes to cases due to inflicted harm. Time dragged on agonizingly for those who suspected Letby of committing unspeakable acts. It wasn't until July 3, 2018, that the elusive nurse was arrested, a grueling 14 months after the inception of Operation Hummingbird. Could this be the breakthrough that would vindicate the consultants and put Letby behind bars? Only time would unveil the truth.
Searches of her home in Chester and her parents' house in Hereford uncovered hundreds of medical documents, patient records, and handwritten notes that gave clues about her state of mind. Among the scrawled notes were the words, "I killed them on purpose because I'm not good enough," and "I am evil. I did this."
In a shocking twist, at the time of her arrest, Letby was still employed at the hospital, despite all the warning signs. She was taken into custody on suspicion of 8 counts of murder and 6 counts of attempted murder. A search of her property unveiled a trove of documentary evidence, including meticulously kept diaries with color-coded asterisks, marking significant dates in the investigation, some spanning thousands of pages. The sheer volume of evidence was staggering, with over 16,000 exhibits not even presented in court. 3 days after her initial arrest on July 6th, Letby was released on bail, as the police needed time to sift through the mountains of evidence seized from her home. The examination of this evidence would shed new light on Letby's reign of terror. Nearly a year after her release on bail, she was re-arrested on the 10th of July 2019, this time facing 2 additional charges of attempting to take the lives of infants. Once again, she was released on bail, allowing the police to meticulously gather evidence to build a formidable case before charges could be brought. The police agonized over the evidence for another 16 grueling months, uncovering more attempts on innocent lives. On November 11, 2020, a moment that had been years in the making finally arrived. Letby had been charged. This time, bail was denied, and she remained in police custody. However, Letby was not going down without a fight. She vehemently denied all charges, instead placing blame on poor hospital hygiene and inadequate staffing levels.
When Letby was taken in for questioning, she continued to lie, trying to convince the police the deaths were a series of coincidences.
They told me there was going to be a lot more deaths. I think they just sort of was there for a lot of them. Did you have any concerns that there was a rise in the mortality rate?
Motives were speculated upon, yet none were definitively proven. Some suggested that boredom and a twisted thrill from playing God drove her actions. Others theorized that she sought to capture the attention of a doctor she was infatuated with, a doctor who would be called to tend to the infants rapidly deteriorating under her care.
One of the theories put to the jury was that Lucy Letby attacked babies in order to get Dr. A into the room, to get his attention. Yes, we already knew that on a number of occasions when babies on the units collapsed, it was Dr. A who was crash-bleeped to attend.
The trial finally commenced in October 2022 at the Manchester Crown Court. Letby entered a plea of not guilty to 22 charges, including 7 counts of murder and 15 counts of attempted murder. Heartbreaking and horrifying details emerged during the trial. Parents recounted the horrifying moments when they discovered Letby attacking their babies. Her methods were diabolical, involving injections of air or insulin, overfeeding, and physical assaults. She even stooped so low as to cyberstalk the grieving families on the anniversary of their infant's death. On July 10, 2023, after a grueling 9-month trial, the world waited on tenterhooks for the verdicts to be delivered. The lingering question for many was whether justice would finally be served. The jury found the nurse guilty of 7 counts of murder and 7 counts of attempted murder involving 6 infants. However, they could not reach a verdict on 6 attempts on babies' lives, and she was found not guilty on 2 counts of attempted murder.
Lucy Letby, on each of the 7 offences of murder and the 7 offences of attempted murder, I sentence you to imprisonment for life. Because the seriousness of your offences is exceptionally high, I direct that the early release provisions do not apply. The order of the court, therefore, is a whole life order on each and every offence, and you will spend the rest of your life.
Finally, on August 21, 2023, Letby received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. 8 long years after she initiated her heinous acts, she was incarcerated, ensuring that she would never pose a threat to infants again. While some justice has been served, families must now continue their lives and attempt to put the horrific acts of Lucy Letby behind them. If you enjoyed this video, then please show your support for this channel by liking, subscribing, or leaving a comment with your thoughts on this video.